Black Beauty, Chapter 3, My Breaking In. I was now beginning to grow handsome. My coat had grown fine and soft and was glossy black. I had one white foot and a pretty white star on my forehead. People thought me very handsome. My master would not sell me till I was 4 years old. He said lads ought not to work like men, and colts ought not to work like horses till they were quite grown up. When I was 4 years old, Squire Gordon came to look at me. He examined my eyes and my mouth and felt my legs all down. Then I had to walk, trot and gallop before him. He seemed to like me and said, "When he has been broken in, he will do very well." My master promised to break me in himself, as he would not like me to be frightened or hurt, and he lost no time about it, for the next day the breaking in began. Everyone may not know what breaking in is, so I will describe it. To break in a horse is to teach it to wear a saddle and bridle, and to carry on its back a man, woman or child, to go just the way the rider wishes, and to do so quietly. Besides this, the horse has to learn to wear a collar, a crupper and a breeching, and he must learn to stand still whilst these are put on. Then he must be taught to have a cart or chaise fixed behind him, so that he cannot walk or trot without dragging it after him, and he must learn to go quickly or slowly just as his driver wishes. He must never start at what he sees, speak to other horses, bite, kick, or have any will of his own, but must always do his master's will, even though he may be very tired or hungry. But the worst of all is that when the harness is on, he may neither jump for joy nor lie down for weariness. So you see, this breaking in is a great thing. Of course, I had long been used to a halter and a headstall and to be led about in the fields and lanes quietly, but now I was to have a bit and a bridle. My master gave me some oats as usual, and after a good deal of coaxing he got the bit into my mouth and fixed the bridle. What a nasty thing the bit was! Those who have never had one in their mouth cannot think how bad it feels. A great piece of cold, hard steel as thick as a man's finger is pushed between your teeth and over your tongue, with the end coming out at the corners of your mouth, and is held fast there by straps over your head, under your throat, round your nose and under your chin, so that no way in the world can you get rid of the nasty hard thing. Bad! Bad, yes, very bad. At least I thought so, but I knew my mother always wore one when she went out, and that all horses did when they were grown up. And so, what with the nice oats, and what with my master's pats, kind words and gentle ways, I got to wear my bit and bridle. Next came the saddle, but that was not half so bad. My master put it on my back very gently, whilst old Daniel held my head. Then, patting and talking to me all the time, he made the girths fast under my body, and I had a few oats. Then I was led about for a little while, and this went on every day till I began to look for the oats and the saddle. At length, one morning, my master got on my back and rode me round the meadow on the soft grass. It certainly did feel queer, but I must say I felt rather proud to carry my master, and as he continued to ride me a little every day, I soon became accustomed to it. The next unpleasant business was putting on iron shoes. That too was very hard at first. My master went with me to the smith's forge to see that I was not hurt or frightened. The blacksmith took my feet in his hand, one after the other, and cut away some of the hoof. It did not pain me, so I stood still on 3 legs till he had done them all. Then he took a piece of iron the shape of my foot, clapped it on, and drove some nails through the shoe quite into my hoof, so that the shoe was firmly held. My feet were very stiff and heavy, but in time I got used to it. And now, having got so far, my master went on to break me to harness. For this there were more new things to wear. First they placed a stiff, heavy collar just on my neck, and a bridle with great side pieces called blinkers against my eyes. And blinkers indeed they were, for I could not see on either side, but only straight in front of me. Next there was a small saddle with a nasty stiff strap that went right under my tail. That was the crupper. I hated the crupper. To have my long tail doubled up and poked through the strap was almost as bad as the bit. I never felt more like kicking, but of course I could not kick such a good master. So in time I got used to everything, and could do my work as well as my mother. I must not forget to mention one part of my training, which I have always considered a very great advantage. My master sent me for a fortnight to a neighbouring farmer who had a meadow which skirted on one side by the railway. Here there were some sheep and cows, and I was turned in amongst them. I shall never forget the first train that ran by. I was feeding quietly near the pales which separated the meadow from the railway when I heard a strange sound at a distance, and before I knew whence it came, with a rush and a clatter and a puffing out of smoke, A long black train of something flew by and was almost gone before I could draw my breath. I turned and galloped to the far side of the meadow as fast as I could go, and there I stood snorting with astonishment and fear. In the course of the day, many other trains went by, more slowly. These drew up at the station close by, and sometimes made an awful shriek and groan before they stopped. I thought it very dreadful, but the cows went on eating very quietly and hardly raising their heads as the black, frightful thing came puffing and grinding past. For the first few days I could not feed at peace, but as I found that this terrible creature never came into the field nor did me any harm, I began to disregard it, and very soon I cared as little about the passing of a train as the cows and sheep did. Since then I have seen many horses much alarmed and restive at the sight or sound of a steam engine, but thanks to my good master's care, I am as fearless at railway stations as in my own stable. Now, if anyone wants to break in a young horse well, that is the way to do it. My master often drove me in double harness with my mother because she was steady and could teach me how to go better than a strange horse. She told me the better I behaved, the better I should be treated, and that it was the wisest always to do my best to please my master. But, said she, there are a great many kinds of men. There are good, thoughtful men like our master, that any horse may be proud to serve, but there are bad, cruel men who never ought to have a horse or a